Girl, you know it's true.
Ah yeah, it's time to travel and bang, baby.
This is Travel and Bang. I am Marky Bravo, the mulatto. I know, you caught me. I'm drinking a little red wine tonight. Don't worry, I'm not gonna show it on camera. Welcome to the jungle, motherfuckers. We got fun and games. So tonight, I wanna talk about something very serious. I call it a hidden jewel, a paradigm shift that we all go through as men. Most of us go through this at 35 or 40. So if you're younger and you're watching this and you're an intellectual guy and you're about adapting and winning, you're about crushing it in life, you're about winning, then you'll really like this one, okay? Before we get into it, you know the drill. Show a U.S. Army combat vet some love, subscribe, share this video with friends, like, leave comments. Say something insulting if it makes you feel well. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you gotta do, okay? So let's get into it. So this is what I've noticed over the years traveling overseas. I've always ran into men and women, by the way, and you have two types. You have the person that is engulfed in fantasy, right? And then you have the type of person that is a realist, right? And as my German grandfather said, he's passed away now, he said, marriage, for instance, is for realists, not for romantics. And I didn't understand what that saying meant until, you know, I mean, years later in being a man and seeing it. Going back to what I'm saying, overseas, meeting a lot of people. So the fantasy, the people who are in love with the fantasy, they are in love with the fiction. You know what I mean? They're in love with the novelty of things. Like when you go to Disney World, right? This is a fantasy world. This is an illusion. You know what I'm saying? This is not real, but you know, you can appreciate the novelty of it. You know what I mean? It's fun. It's cute, right? But when you get too caught up with buying into the fantasy, you fuck yourself up. Because it's not to say it's not real, it's not existent, but it's not based on reality. You understand? And the reality, as I always say, reality is more closer to XXX porn, right? Than it is to slow romantic lovemaking. You know what I mean? If you look at it like an analogy, life is more like a XXX porn movie than it is a kissy kissy, huggy huggy, right? So let's get into the vulgar shit, right? You like that. Yeah, you like that. So porn, as you know, is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And we know most people deny they're even watching it because it's still something we keep to ourselves. We put it in the closet, especially women. Women really don't talk about porn, like they don't watch it. And some women don't watch it. Some women think it's disgusting, right? So porn is the fantasy factory. Been telling guys this forever. It's a fantasy factory. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen in real life, okay? I've had menage a trois. I had threesomes, okay? I've had sex in public with women that I was dating. I did things that I saw in adult cinema, in porn movies. I have done that. I participated in that debauchery, right? But even when making fantasies a reality, right, you realize the difference from the films, from the fantasy that's being put out in Pornhub.com or YouPorn.com, right? Very different. You know what I mean? It makes the fantasy of what you see online, right, is that sex smells like fruit, strawberries, and fruity bubble gum, right? Trust me, that's what a lot of guys look at it as. But the vulgarity of real sex with a woman is totally different. Okay? When you're watching a porn movie, I'm gonna get vulgar. I'm gonna get ready? When you're watching a XXX porn and the man's hitting a woman from behind, doggy style, right? You're seeing it, you're being aroused, your senses are aroused, right? You're probably doing something with the lotion, with the tissue box on the side. You know, we all know what's going on, but you're aroused, you're watching it, but you don't get the full sensation of the realism of it. You see the fantasy of it, right? What's the realism? The realism, I'm gonna say, the realism is the perspiration. When you're really having doggy style sex with them, the perspiration coming off the woman, the sweat, you can smell the sweaty sulfur perspiration coming out of the woman when she's deeply engulfed in sex, getting fucked hard. You know what I mean? She's in the zone. An animalistic primordial instinct has come to life. You understand that? And you can smell it. The pheromones are being excreted from her pores, going into your nostrils. Your brain starts getting tantalized. The neurons are going crazy. You're even more turned on. You know what I mean? Now, the difference, what I'm trying to say, is the reality versus the fantasies. The fantasy when you're watching porn is, it's, you know what I mean? You don't smell anything. You don't, your senses aren't being, when you're having doggy style sex with a woman and say, you know what I mean? She just came off of work and stuff. She didn't have a shower and you're hitting it from the back. You understand? You're probably gonna smell, you're hitting it from the back, you're gonna smell like this weird shit smell coming from her butt. You understand? This is reality here. I know a lot of motherfuckers are like, what the fuck? Yes, this is reality. You're not gonna see that in a porn movie though. Do you understand that? But that's reality when you have real sex with real person, a real woman. You know what I mean? The reality is not everybody's gonna jump in the shower before they get fucked. A woman is not gonna jump in the shower all the time before you get to fuck her. But this is the vulgar reality of it. You know what I mean? Not saying she didn't wipe or nothing, but the smell is there. You can smell it. It's real. This is reality. This is the vulgar reality no one talks about. You understand? Just like anal sex in adult cinema, right? That's the fantasy. You know what I mean? A lot of those women stick water tubes up their butt to wash everything out before the male adult actor, penetrates her from behind in her rectum, right? That is a fantasy. Everything's clean, everything's perfect. The reality, okay, gentlemen, when you have anal sex with a woman is, the reality is you're probably gonna see some brown shit on your schlong dong. You know what I'm saying? That is a reality. The movies, they don't even use lubrication. They just go right to it. They skip even showing you they're using that. Reality is you have to put that on, or you will hurt that person, that woman. You understand? You must have the lubrications, okay? Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this to make a point about fantasy and fucking reality. That we as humans gotta snap out of it if we're going to go to another level, and embrace reality and not get stuck in the fantasy. The fantasy is, does art imitate life or does life imitate art? It's a little bit of both. But at the same time, there is an aspect of life that supersedes art, entertainment. You understand? Just like, let's touch the subject that a lot of people don't like. Marriage. Marriage it's an institution that doesn't work in the Western world as much anymore. You understand? It works for some, but I say 90% it doesn't. The fantasy that we have in the West of marriage is it lasts forever, it's all love, I love you, you know what I mean? And you see this failure of marriage even with Will Smith, right? When we seen him act a fool and publicly bitch slap fucking Chris Rock. What would make a man do that? It's being in a marriage too long and, you know what I mean? It doesn't work. And then you start doing dysfunctional shit for your spouse to prove your love to your spouse. You know what I mean? when it's played out. In Germany, as we call it, it's ausgelutscht, right? It's fucking over. But we like to beat a dead horse, and we like to try to keep things alive, even when so the fantasy versus the reality. Once again, we bring up my grandfather when he said marriage is for realists, not for romantics. A romantic is a person who buys into the fantasy. They want marriage and relationships to be just like the fairy tale Disneyland, Disney World shit. But this is great as a child when your grandmother's telling you these stories before going to sleep. Or maybe that's the world I grew up in, right? With my German grandmother. But maybe you've seen it growing up, the fantasy films on TV. We've all watched The Never-Ending Story. We've all watched The Time Bandits. We have all watched the movie Labyrinth featuring David Bowie. These are beautiful films. Love fantasy films. But by no means do I get this fantasy world confused with reality. It's cute. It's the novelty of a world beyond, a dimension beyond ours. You know, an illustration, an expression, if you will. But that's all we need to understand what it is. We have to really embrace reality for what it is. It is vulgar. It is mostly taboo. A lot of things are not to be spoken about. But I think the more you hit on reality, right?